Okay, good morning everyone. This is Karl F. Rose recording from Bedford, Pennsylvania on Friday, August 9th, 2019, and this is my podcast post-game review from last night's Detroit Lions loss to the Patriots 31-3. It was rough watching that, but I knew it wasn't going to be pretty because thankfully not many of the starters started, but there are some good things about this ugly thing. I'll get to that later, but let's just talk about all of the awful stuff first. Injuries. Kurtz looks like he got a broken leg and will be out for the season. Looks like Crosby, who actually wasn't doing very good throughout the game, he's got a concussion. The backup quarterback, Savage, who was on a roll. I've been critical of him, but apparently he's going to be in concussion protocol now too. So this begs the question, because the other quarterback fails. Perfect name for a quarterback. Fails. F-A-I-L-S. It was a big fail. Makes me want to see Dan Orlovsky back. That's pretty pathetic. The pick that he threw to the defensive lineman, he may as well just handed him the ball and let the defensive lineman run all the way through to get a touchdown. I mean, that's how pathetic it was. Fails is awful. He's got to be cut. And if Bob Quinn isn't at this moment on the phone hunting down a good backup quarterback for Matt Stafford, then he needs to be fired, period. He needs to be on the horn. He needs to pick up somebody, cut somebody else. The offensive line was pathetic. The bright spots were Powell had some good things. Agnew had some good things. The player of the game was, according to Spielman, was Killebrew. And I've been 50-50 on Killebrew. It looks like he's transitioning over pretty well to his new spot, so that's going to take time. So if he develops where they want him to be, well, then that'd be pretty good. I mean, he's not big, but he's got the quick ones, and he did show that. Tavon Wilson, I don't know, but he's going to be on the team, but he didn't look very good. Another question mark I have is, why was Darius Slay out there? Is Darius Slay in the Matt Patricia's doghouse? Because you usually don't, because of what happened in all those injuries, this is why you don't start. Don't put starters in the game one of the preseason, because basically you're still trying to get into shape, and when you're not really fully in shape, that's when injuries happen. So why was Slay out there for a little bit? So that's interesting. So I have a funny feeling that that it could possibly be that before week 6 of the regular season, before the trade deadline, I think the Lions are going to be using Darius Slay as bait to get because the second string secondary was just terrible, just offense, just absolutely pathetic. They were getting shredded by just no names, but then again, the Lions were playing no names. And the defensive line, the second string, there's basically what we saw last night was just a lot of people who will be cut. So I bet during the following week we're going to see a lot of cuts, some bringing in some other people to see how they work, cut them, because I think primarily Matt Patricia and Bob Quinn know who the starters are going to be. So this is what I've said. The first 3 games, are just going to be just to see what happens if somebody goes down. And what we've seen is if Matt Stafford, and even if one or two of the starting offensive linemen go down, doesn't matter. Besides, the Lions season's over, and unfortunately, Matt Stafford's going to be the kind of guy that's going to stay in, and he's going to get hurt with the way they played. And I would just rather, if linemen go down, I'd rather just shelf Stafford, shelf the season, say, hey, stay home with Kelly, and do what you need to do with family matters, and then just basically write off the season, really, because unless they beef up the offensive line, unless we see some major improvement on some of these backups, any starters going down, and I would personally shelf Stafford and basically shelf the season, because we're talking about his career here. We're talking about longevity. We're talking about because these linemen were just, I have never ever, I mean, some of the lines that the Lions had have been pathetic, but what I saw last night was just beyond pathetic. Just beyond pathetic. So, I mean, yes, you can blame the quarterback fails because, first of all, his throws, they were wobbly ducks. He was missing the mark all the time, and when he did hit the mark, it was to the other team usually. It was just awful. Too bad. I think Savage will be good to be on the practice squad. They need somebody better than Savage as a backup quarterback. And they really need a lot of work on the offensive line. But they do, the only thing that I'm not going about on the defensive line is, as far as their starters, and they've got a lot of depth on their defensive line. So what we saw is the players that they're most likely going to cut. So I think the Lions are fine on their defensive line. They don't want to put their main guys who they're going to rotate through the regular season. They didn't want to put them in harm's way. They're going to get a few reps here and there probably next week against Houston. Not much, but just a little bit. Probably a series or two. Yeah, they need to cut people, bring some new people in, or try some new people at the next game on the offensive line. And the communication was awful, and even Chris Spielman was talking about that. And the best part about the game was when they had T.J. Lang in the booth, and he was explaining the problems. He was explaining the offensive line problems really well. So it was a rough game to watch. But what the thing is that what T.J. Lang said, as far as the problems on the offensive line, he said these are very fixable problems because it's more of a communication thing. He said basically if they were getting beat down by the other players, then that would be a serious problem. T.J. Lang basically said they really weren't getting beat down by the other players, but there was just some horrible communication, and that can be done in the training rooms and the practice rooms and the discussions, and they can fine-tune that. So that's what game one is about. It's usually about seeing who's going to be on the team and who isn't. And there's a lot of people who aren't going to be on. I forgot to mention the little bit that I saw of Ty Johnson. He looks like he's going to be the real deal. So I would like to see Ty Johnson more on special teams, but it looks like he's going to be a little bit in the backfield. Oh, and the other guy, near the end of the game, when the Lions finally got a field goal, they had that one beast of a running back, and I forgot his name now. I'm not sure if he's even going to make the team, but if he does, he's a good bulldozer, and that'll help. Zach Zenner actually looked pretty good. Didn't do anything spectacular, but he didn't do anything dumb. So there are bright spots there. So, but the game was a disaster, and just thankfully, no major people got hurt. And for the ones that got hurt, that's just a curse. That was a big blow, but it won't be detrimental to the Lions, but it was a big blow. He's gone for the season, so Bob Quinn better be on the phone. We're looking for another backup, and there's going to be switching around. Anyway, I just wanted to get this out. I'm going to be doing another follow-up post-game review after next week's game, and we will talk to you then, and have a good day.